What's up, people? Today I will be reviewing the Equalizer in 4K, and I got that coming up for you next. So the Equalizer just came out in 4K in anticipation of the new Equalizer 2 film that will be coming out really damn soon, and I'll be reviewing the 4K Blu-ray with you guys today. And starting off with the movie itself, this is a movie that I actually saw in theaters back when it came out, and I was truly impressed with it. Denzel Washington is always an actor that I have always liked, but Antoine Fuqua as a director is kind of meh in my book. But they do work really great together, and that is definitely still on display here. This movie has some really creative editing, and it has some really creative camera work, and it has just this badass character of that Denzel plays here. I do truly like his pathos, and I like just who he is as a character. And even if he gets over his head, he doesn't care. He's just gonna take everybody out because he's a badass. And even though this movie does get ridiculous, and I mean ridiculous, it is a very fun, very cool watch. I give the Equalizer a 8 out of 10. And as far as the video quality of this 4K release, this one is a very solid uptick from the Blu-ray. And this movie actually has a 2K digital intermediate. So first off, the Blu-ray itself looked pretty damn good. But one thing that I will say about it is the black levels were inconsistent. But you can definitely see a lot deeper into the black levels, and there isn't as much crushing on this 4K release as on the Blu-ray. And then when you get into the HDR, I live in Boston, and this was actually filmed in Boston, and I will say that this color palette looks a lot more, just a lot more atmospheric than the Blu-ray, and especially when you are looking at the landscape in this movie, like when he goes to the diner that he hangs out with, or at the I forget what they call it, but it's just a version of Home Depot where he works. Those elements are where the HDR shines here. And then you get a noticeable bump up in textures and in clarity and detail, especially in close-ups of Denzel himself. This is a noticeable upgrade that I will give an 8 out of 10 to. So getting into the audio quality here, this has been bumped up to a Dolby Atmos mix, and let me tell you, it is very impressive. First off, this is a loud and in-your-face mix. Even when there isn't action going on, there is Denzel's kick-ass score when he comes on screen, and that is blasted all throughout your surrounds and your fronts, and it definitely lets you into his vibe, and I get into it as well. This is a very active mix, people. And when I say that, that also means the height speakers. The height speakers actually get a decent workout here. The score actually goes through the height speakers in very unique ways. It's not the same thing that comes through your front speakers. It is very dynamic in that way. And then when you get into the action scenes, specifically at the end in the Home Depot, this is where the Atmos mix truly shines, especially with the height speakers. I will say that I enjoyed this mix a whole hell of a lot. I give it a 9 out of 10. Getting into the digital copy that is in this disc, this is an ultraviolet digital copy that lets you download the 4K version on Vudu, as usual. As far as special features go, this is something that is really, really cool and really worth picking this release up, because there are a whole slew of new special features that are specifically for this 4K version, and they are all on the 4K disc. Even the old special features that are on the Blu-ray They're all on the 4K disc. You get a whole slew of new deleted scenes, and you get a whole lot of new featurettes that go into the character that Denzel plays himself and how he is a new protector of the people. And then you get a new one that goes into the character of the villain here. And, you pretty much get a featurette that goes into almost every aspect of this movie. There are a whole lot of featurettes here that I actually enjoyed watching, and I learned a lot more about the filming of this movie and how it was actually filmed in Boston, around the Quincy area for the majority of it. And wow, this is something that is really cool, and I will actually give this a 9 out of 10 as far as special features go, just because it's rare to see this amount of special features on a 4K disc. Now, getting into my last looks here, The Equalizer is a extremely fun movie that I really got into. I got into Denzel's character here a lot, and I feel like if I had to rank Denzel's characters, this would be kind of at the top of the list, just because of how he always wants to stick up for the little man in this movie, and just the action in this movie is so ridiculous in such a fun way. I love it. And when you add up all my scores for this 4K release, it comes out to a 34 out of 40. This is something that if you like this movie, you guys should truly pick it up, because it has actually a lot to offer. So coming up next on the channel, I do have to get into the Mission Impossible movies before I get into the new Mission Impossible Fallout, and I have a whole lot more releases coming for you guys this July and in August. Just look up the titles that are coming out, and you'll know what I will have on this channel. I'm going to be getting into like Predator and Avengers. I thank all of you for watching. You guys are truly awesome, and I will see all of you next time.